Hey everybody, it's me, Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie. On this episode of CD Junkie, I'm going to tell you about a new release that I'm super duper excited about. It is called The Complete Fun Boy 3. It is an incredible box set containing 5 CDs and a DVD. And a lot of you might be saying, who's Fun Boy 3? Well, that's Fun Boy 3 right there. That's Terry Hall, that's Linville Goulding, and that's Neville Staple. And all 3 members were formerly with the band The Specials. Now, some of you might recognize that name. The Specials were a great, they were one of the big bands during the original two-tone, the ska revival scene. Their debut album came out in 1979 called The Specials, produced by Elvis Costello, and it was all the rage. It was right up there with Madness, English Beat, Bad Manners, bands like that. Then came the album More Specials, which was not as popular, but still very intriguing. It was a very different album, very strange, very moody, haunting at points, and they were trying so many different things, even getting very weird. And I love that aspect. I mean, I was kind of taken aback the first time I heard it, but I thought, oh, but this is really interesting. Then they came out with a single, Ghost Town, and I think that was 81, and that single blew everybody away. That was probably that and the single Gangsters off the first album. Those were the songs that people are most familiar with by The Specials. Ghost Town, it was haunting. It was just moving in a completely different direction. And then right after that single was a hit, Terry Hall, Linville Goulding, and Neville Staple left the band, and they went off to form Fun Boy 3. Now, Fun Boy 3 is not ska. They're not even closely related to the two-tone movement in terms of sound. But you know that weird haunting element that the Specials had during More Specials in Ghost Town? That is very prevalent on the first album. Interesting thing is 2 of the band members, which is Neville and Terry, they were singers in the Specials, so they weren't really instrumentalists, whereas Linville was. So when Fun Boy 3 went to the studio, you know, they didn't know how to play all these instruments. They were learning them as they went along. You know, they all had rudimentary skills, but the album is really based around creating new sounds, creating songs out of rhythm, creating songs out of simple chord changes, piano, and you know, they weren't using like samples or anything like that. You know, as you would think that a band like that would. They were creating something new in the studio. Nothing sounded like the first Fun Boy 3 album, which was just self-titled, came out in 1982. The Lunatics Have Taken Over the Asylum, The Telephone Always Rings. These are the singles off this album that got a lot of attention. Some of you may know Fun Boy 3 because they recorded 2 singles with Bananarama during Bananarama's early years. That was Tain't What You Do, It's the Way That You Do It, and Really Saying Something. So the male chanting type vocals you hear on those 2 singles, that's Fun Boy 3. And that sound carries over to this album. In fact, Bananarama appear on some of the tracks on the album, especially Tain't What You Do, because that was their single, whereas Really Saying Something was a Bananarama single. But both of those singles appear on the box set. So anyway, the album was chanting and it was rhythmic. And, you know, there are instruments, there are keyboards in there is guitar in there, but it's created from nothing. And it came out to be enchanting, but in a slightly spooky way, a slightly dark way, but still very much in line with the adventurous 80s. A lot of people just think of top 40 80s music, but the 80s was very adventurous for a lot of musicians, Fun Boy 3 included. Now, by their second album that came out in 1983, it was a whole different ball of wax. They still had that sort of experimental element to their sound, but the album was produced by David Byrne from Talking Heads, and it featured a full band that featured like June Miles Kingston, Nikki Holland, and some other great musicians. But it was a much more upbeat album. It was still very creative. It had a lot more instrumentation to it than the debut album, but it still had that great, weird, haunting element to it. Terry Hall here had been dating Jane Weedland from the Go-Go's back in the Go-Go's early days, and when he was with the Specials, and they had written a song together called Our Lips Are Sealed. And of course, Jane took that to the Go-Go's, and they recorded a hit single version of it. Well, Fun Boy 3 recorded their version of the song with a darker tone to it. You know, where the Go-Go's version was bubbly, theirs was almost sad. So two different moods, really fantastic. The album also had Tunnel of Love on it. The Less I See, the More I Believe. We're Having All the Fun, which that song will be stuck in your head for days once you learn the chorus. But it also has a song called The Pressures of Life Takes Weight Off the Body, which I think is terrible. Just the chorus. I think everything else is about it, but I just can't, it's been 40 years, I still can't get on that song. But everything else here is fantastic. They broke up after the album Waiting. So they put out these two great albums, and then they split up. And something tells me Terry Hall was a restless artist. Now, Terry Hall, unfortunately, has passed away a few years ago. Wonderful talent, but he was with the Specials for 2 albums. Then he was with Fun Boy 3 for 2 albums. And then he was with The Colorfield for 2 albums. Then he was with Terry Blair and Anushka for 1 album. Then he was with Vegas for 1 album. Then he did a couple solo albums. Then he was, so he seemed to be restless and constantly moving on to create something new and exciting. And he always did. This is, in fact, I probably listened to Fun Boy 3. I know this is blasphemous, but I listened to him more than I listened to the Specials. And I love the Specials. And, but this band is incredible. Now, the first album had been released on CD with bonus tracks by Cherry Red, and that was fantastic. Waiting had been released on CD, long out of print, but it didn't have any bonus tracks. So with this box, you're getting some of the most amazing music. You're getting 7-inch single mixes and different versions and 12-inch mixes. This is highly recommended. In fact, I'm going to stop talking about it right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little medley that I put together featuring some of the songs from this box set, just to give you an idea of what the band sounds like. It's going to start off with songs from the first album and then go into songs from the second album. Really, really wonderful, really unique. So sit back, relax, give this a listen, and I will see you on the other side.
You can try hard, don't mean a thing. Take it easy. Swing. What you do, it's the best that you do it. What you do, it's the best that you do it. Hey, what you do, it's the best that you do it. That's what gets results. Take away my right to choose. Take away my point of view.
Well, that's it. I hope this inspires you to check out Funboy 3. The 2 albums are available on vinyl out there, but I recommend you checking this out. Fantastic collection. 5 CDs and a DVD that features their video clips plus live TV performances. Wonderful, wonderful band. Deserves your attention. There are some Funboy 3 compilations out there as well. So if you don't want to invest in this big box, you're going to want to check out a Funboy 3 compilation. Definitely worth your time. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, to ring that bell for future notifications. And until the next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.